It's draft week, baby, which means it is time for my final mock draft predictions. I think the only thing harder than trying to predict a March Madness bracket is trying to predict the first round of the NFL draft. So many trades happen, and we're all shocked every single year about certain players being taken at certain positions. And my mock draft will be nowhere near perfect, but it's always a lot of fun to do these and see how close we get to being right. But yo, I want to set a like goal for this video, and I've got this awesome Manscaped package that I want to give away to you. We've got the Ultra Smooth package. We've got the Manscaped Perfect package. We've even got a few pairs of boxers for you. So yo, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I'm gonna pick somebody from the comments to give this away to for free. So hit that like button for me, and in the comments, let me know your personal mock draft, whether it be for your favorite team, how you see the first 5 picks going, or whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments. For weeks, I had CJ Stroud going #1 overall to Carolina, and I'm not buying into all these reports that the guy is a bust, but I do think that Carolina at this point has said, we've got to go with the safest bet because we can't mess up at the quarterback position again this year. Bryce Young goes #1 overall. I've been saying it for months. I don't think the Houston Texans go quarterback at #2. They've got a former linebacker as their head coach now that is going to want a strong defense. Will Anderson, the top defensive player in this draft, goes #2. Tennessee's window with Ryan Tannehill is closing fast. They're going to make a move in this draft to get their next quarterback, and it's going to be coming up to #3 with Arizona to draft CJ Stroud. The Colts staff got to see Anthony Richardson firsthand in their building, put together one of the greatest combine performances ever for a quarterback. Well, now they're going to see him in their building on Sundays, leading them to some dubs. Anthony Richardson goes #4 to the Indianapolis Colts. The Vikings' marriage with Kirk Cousins has been on thin ice for a couple of years now, it feels like. But the perfect replacement for him is going to be Will Levis out of Kentucky. He's going to need a little bit of time anyway, so the Minnesota Vikings are going to come up, grab Will Levis, and then they will have their quarterback of the future when they decide to move on from Kirk Cousins next offseason. Jalen Carter is going to fall to the Detroit Lions at 6 overall, and I think that this is his best landing spot because he's going to need a coach like Dan Campbell to help him grow into an NFL player. He's got the talent, he's got the speed, he's got the size. Is the maturity going to be there? I think that's the question on everybody's mind. Well, when you play for the Detroit Lions now, your maturity is going to have to step up pretty quick. The Las Vegas Raiders allow the 29th most passing yards per game, and when you play in the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and hey, maybe Russell Wilson will figure it out this year, you've got to stop the pass. So since they miss out on a quarterback of the future, they grab Christian Gonzalez, the top cornerback in the draft. The Falcons were last in the league last year in sacks, and they need to create more pressure in a wide open NFC South. They go with Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. The Chicago Bears won this draft months ago when they got the first overall pick. Then they solidified it when they traded the #1 overall pick for a huge haul. And now they really put a stamp on that when they get the #1 offensive tackle, Paris Johnson Jr., to help keep Justin Fields safe and allow him to continue to grow as a quarterback. Eagles fans have fought with me over this pick for months, but my final mock is going to have Bijan Robinson going to the Eagles. Now, I know they could use a little bit more help on defense, and they could draft a top cornerback here, but they've lost something on defense this offseason. Will still be a good defense, but maybe not as strong as last year. So you know what? Why don't we just put Bijan Robinson on offense, become absolutely unstoppable, and just beat everybody by 30. After moving back, the Arizona Cardinals, who need a ton of help all over the place, go with a guy that is considered by many to be the 1B cornerback in this class, Devin Witherspoon, out of Illinois. With their first pick, Houston goes defense. With their second pick, they go offense. They're going to need to replace Brandon Cooks. Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State is going to be a perfect fit for this offense, and whatever quarterback is at the helm. The New York Jets are still trying to get a deal done for Aaron Rodgers, and hopefully that is all cleared up soon. but they're going to need to protect him. So we go with Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. It might be weird seeing a Joey Porter in the New England Patriots uniform, but this is where they're going to go by drafting Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State to help solidify that defense. They could go wide receiver here, but Bill Belichick is going to want a stronger defense than that middle of the pack mess they had last year. You know me, I'm not a strong supporter of first round tight ends. I've watched my Lions mess that up way too much. But Michael Mayer to the Green Bay Packers just makes way too much sense. He can definitely help on the end of the line, blocking for Jordan Love, and he'll be an added weapon that Love will sorely need. Washington needs speed and elite cornerback play to really take their defense to the next level. Deonte Banks was a fast riser at the combine, and I mean that literally, one of the fastest guys at the combine. He's going to be exactly what they need on the outside. Yeah, the Steelers could use some cornerback play, but now that the top cornerbacks are off the board, let's go Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. You got to protect Kenny Pickett, and you need Najee Harris to get back to the running back he was 2 years ago. The Lions addressed the interior of the defensive line with Jalen Carter in their first pick, but now they get a gift as Lucas Van Ness will fall all the way to them at their next pick. He's a little bit of a project, but with Van Ness, Jalen Carter, and Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line, whoo! Ladies and gentlemen, this Lions defense, they're looking like Super Bowl contenders. The Buccaneers have lots of needs everywhere, including on the edge and at linebacker. And that's why Nolan Smith is going to be such a perfect fit for them, because this is a guy that's a little bit in between for me. He projects better as an off-the-ball linebacker, but because of his college experience, he can play on the edge as well, which will give the Bucs some versatility. The Seattle Seahawks spent a lot of draft capital on the offensive line last year, and it paid off, but they're still going to need somebody at right guard this year, and Peter Skoronski is going to be the perfect fit for that. He projects as a guard to me, but he is good enough that if he needed to swing outside to play tackle, he could, giving the Seattle Seahawks some major versatility on their offensive line. The Chargers address the offense, and they grab Jordan Addison, who honestly is a perfect Keenan Allen replacement. I could see Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then Jordan Addison in this offense the rest of the year, and then Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, or maybe both of them, cut next year, and Jordan Addison takes over that role. The Ravens' pass defense was 26th in the league last year. They need to get better on the defensive side of the ball, and they need to get more consistent. Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State is going to help with that. After moving all the way back, obtaining a ton of draft capital, the Seattle Seahawks still get potentially one of the top edge rushers and Myles Murphy here towards the end of the first round. There is a lot of talk that the Jaguars, even with Evan Ingram on the franchise tag, want another tight end in the first round. Doug Peterson may want to get back to running 2 tight end sets again. Darnell Washington could be a great extra blocker on the offensive line and an absolutely imposing threat over the middle of the field. Quentin Johnson falling is a dream scenario for the New York Giants. They need a guy that can play big on the outside more than they need a smaller, speedy wide receiver on the inside. Quentin Johnson fits the New York Giants perfectly. If he makes it down here, the Giants should be thankful. Knowing that there's some potential wide receiver needy teams in front of them, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to make a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to come up and get Zay Flowers. I don't think Dallas is that needy for a wide receiver that they would give up the extra draft capital just to move back a few spots and potentially draft another wide receiver a little later. The Houston Texans are just on the outside of the first round looking in, meaning they could be a team that comes back into the first round, and I have them doing that here with Hendon Hooker. I think they pass on quarterbacks early in the first, knowing that they could potentially get a guy like Hendon Hooker, see what they may have in him, and if they think that he's the guy to take over, then they're all set for next year. But they're not winning the division this year. They're probably not even going to have close to a 500 record. forward. Why not beef up some other positions? And then if things go awry and Hendon Hooker isn't the guy, you've got another high pick for Caleb Williams potentially next season. Brian Branch could be a really good fit for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I could see him being a guy that falls in the first round that shocks some people. He's a little bit of a tweener. He's a guy that can play safety, but he's missing those like big athletic traits that you may want from the position. But he's versatile. He can play the nickel. He can play safety. He can do a lot of things. Everything that Cincinnati needs. The New Orleans Saints have a great opportunity here to address two positions of need: the interior of the defensive line and the edge. Adedemoya Adebawore is a guy that I think projects more as a defensive tackle moving forward, but he can play the edge as well. So getting a guy that's versatile with this pick would be a huge win for New Orleans. I could see the Eagles trading out of this and going back into the second round, adding some more draft capital, but because they do need a little bit more depth at the cornerback position, and they passed on that earlier, Kelee Ringo from Georgia, I think, is a good fit right here. The Dallas Cowboys decide to go with Kalijah Kancey to end the first round. They get to beef up the interior of the defensive line a little bit. They ended up getting some more draft picks. Everybody wins except for Jerry Jones's ego, because we know that trading down is far below him. Yo, again, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I've got an awesome Manscaped package I'm going to be giving away to somebody in the comments. So hit that like button for me, subscribe if you're new here to the channel, and leave me your mock draft down below. Don't tell me where I'm wrong. Don't tell me where I'm right. You leave your mock picks down below so I can see what you're thinking. Everybody, appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.